Hey, everybody, welcome to English 111. I am super excited to get started with this semester, and I hope you are too. It is going to be a great semester, and I really hope that you feel like you are ready to put in some of your best effort to really get the most out of this class. One of the things that I think is important to note about this English class as a 111 introduction to writing or your basic English composition, this is really a foundational class. Like this is, and my goal is to set you up for success in all the rest of your classes, right? The things that we're going to be doing here in this class really are meant to mirror the things you're going to do in your other classes. And in fact, actually, in my introduction videos for each of the modules, I will say things like, you might see this assignment in this form or that form, right? This is why we're doing these things, because I really believe that the things that we do in this class will really set you up for the rest of your classes. And that really is our goal. Uh, it is awfully hard to, once you get to your other classes, um, if you don't have that writing skill, right? Like if you don't have that ability already, because they are not teaching that, right? They're teaching the content. So I want to be able to give you the skills so that when you do go over there to your pre-med, your uh, criminal justice class, your early college or early childhood class, right? Like you already have those skills and you can focus on the content, right? Because you feel comfortable and confident in your writing. So that's really the goal, and that's really the basis for all the things that we do, right? In all the different forms that we do write. But I think it's super important for you to know that. Some things about the class, again, to help you be as successful as possible. I just want to point out a few things to you to really get you set up right. The first is the discussion boards. These are very common in classes, both face-to-face and online classes. You're going to be doing discussion boards a lot. And the goal of the discussion board is a conversation, right? Like you express these ideas, but then you're almost always going to be responding to other people, right? And so this idea of communication. So a lot of the things that we will be focused on skill-wise build on those ideas of how to take someone else's words, thoughts, and ideas, to be able to comment on it, to rephrase it, to share it with other people, and then to add your own take on it, right? So we're going to be really focusing on that to give you those skills. But when you think about the discussion boards for our class in particular, I really want to encourage you to look at the rubric. Please look at the rubric so you know how they're graded, right? The minimum expectation is 2 replies mostly, but to get the full points, you're going to need to respond to more than that. There are expectations of 100 words or 150 words on a post, but to really be able to express yourself, you're probably going to need to write more. So you really think about, like, what can I really do to really be expressive and really share my ideas, so that someone else who comes along and reads this understands it the way I intended it, right? So definitely keep that in mind. Also, too, with the discussion boards, there will be 2 deadlines. There's a midweek deadline for your initial post. This is where we want you to have your initial info, the original post up for others to apply to. Now, there are no points for that. There's no points for, like, oh, hey, I did the first half, right? And now I'm going to do there's no points for that awarded in the midweek. But what that really does is that ensures that other people have posts to reply to. And that, again, the discussion board is a conversation. It's a place where we share ideas, we comment on it, we build on those ideas, right? And so if we don't have initial post to reply to, right, like we're just kind of saying the same thing over and over eventually. Also, too, we want people to be able to reply to your comments, and then you can reply to their comments on your comments, right? So it really allows that space to be, conversational, and to really kind of, encourage discussion. What hence the name, the discussion board, right? So please really keep that in mind. Do watch the due dates on that, though, because, like, when we do, like, the peer reviews, that'll have a slightly different deadline versus when you post and reply to each other. So definitely keep those in mind. Something else, too, to be thinking about when you're doing your writings, all of our major writings have a half draft. So the week before, you'll turn in part of your paper. Now, the expectation is when you read it, when you go into those assignments, you'll see it. It says do half the paper, right? Do the half the paper, turn it in. The idea of the half draft is that you get some feedback. So we know, hey, we're going on the right direction. You're on the right path. You seem to know what you're doing. Continue on from there. I can offer you feedback. I can give you direction, but and your peers can too on certain half draft assignments, right? But I will say in the videos, and I will say it again here, I really encourage you to do more than the half draft, right? The more you can turn in, the better. Partially, it's a timing thing, right? Like I got the paper done, so now I can focus on refining it and revising it and really strengthening it, making it the best work, right? So instead of like working really hard to get the paper done, you've got the paper done, and you're just putting those polishing touches on it. But as a practical reason, if you turn in half a draft, you're going to get feedback on half of the paper, right? But if you turn in a full draft, you get feedback on the full paper. And you know, it is better to have more information to work from, right? And so I think that, and I really encourage it. Now, again, the expectation is half. You will be graded on that half, right? Like if you hit the half, there's fine. You get nothing more. You don't get more points for turning in the full draft, right? And you don't lose points for turning in only half, right? But it is really something that I encourage people to do because it gives them the best chance of really being successful on their final draft. Please, please, please watch your due dates. They are on calendar. If you go to the left side of IvyLearn, there's the calendar button. You can see all the due dates there. The due dates are on the assignments themselves, and there's also a list of due dates on the syllabus. So if you go to that tab, you'll be able to see it as well. I do mark things late, and there is a deduction in point for late work, and there are deadlines. There are dates after which I will not accept the half draft, or after which I won't take peer review grades, right? So you definitely want to make sure that you're very aware of those dates. You don't want to lose points just because you were a day late or something. Now, obviously, if you're not done, or if you feel like you're really way off base and something is really pulling you back, it's better to turn in something late than nothing at all, right? Or to turn in something that's really bad and really wrong and really off base just to say that something was turned in, right? So there is something you do have to assess your own situation, but please be very aware of those due dates. All of our big major assignments are due on Sunday night, midnight your time. Whether you're Eastern or Central time. There is a translation and time error sometimes on IvyLearn, and if it reads, and I tried to put everything, I tried to make everything so that whether you're in Central or Eastern, it's due on Sunday night. That said, I'm not sitting up at midnight on Sunday night waiting for midnight and then marking stuff missing or late. That's not me. So you do have to kind of be aware of those deadlines, and you have to stay on top of those. But it's not like there is a drop dead date on Sunday night. There are due dates, and there are dates after which I won't take points, right? I won't get points for things. But it is really, it's communicated to you in many ways. So please make sure you're following those. That said, due dates. Please be aware that week 8 is compressed, and the due dates are not the same as they normally are. For instance, you might turn in a half draft on this Sunday, and then the final draft will be due on the following Sunday. On week 8, it's due on that Friday, right? Or on that Thursday. Thursday. So, there are some time changes that, you have to be aware of on week 8. I'll communicate that with you. They're already up. You already see those due dates. So please be aware of those. Somebody will always ask, I will always get somebody who asks, can I work ahead? Yes, and yes, you may work ahead. Now, there's some things you can't do. For instance, like the discussion boards and stuff, you may be able to put up your initial post, but you're not going to be able to reply to anybody because maybe no one else has put up anything, right? So, you won't be able to work everything ahead of schedule. But you are definitely welcome to be working ahead. I really love that because you never know what your schedule is going to change into. You never know what's going to pop up and prevent you from doing something one week, right? So, working ahead is never a wrong answer. I encourage it. I don't require it, but I do encourage it. If you want to work ahead, you are welcome to do that. And then I think my final thought is, you know, just communicate. Reach out to me. If you need something, if you need help, if you're not understanding something, you need some direction, please, 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 please reach out to me. In a face-to-face class, I have the ability to kind of see you and kind of gauge whether or not you're feeling it or you're getting it, right? Like I can look over and see this, this weird look on your face, and I'm like, yeah, they're not getting it. They need something. And then I can pull them to the side, at some point and talk to them, right? I don't get that in an online class like this. So you need to be your own advocate, and you need to be reaching out. If you need something, you need help, you need direction, or you just need some feedback, right? If you do reach out, email is always the best way. Email is always the best way. I have a weird schedule, and I'm in and out a lot and different things. So, that's always a good way to get a hold of me, especially if you're like, hey, I need help with this paper, and you share your paper, right? You send that paper. Anytime you do email me or contact me somehow and you leave a message, it's always really good to be very clear about what you need. If you say, hey, I'm having some trouble, can you help me? Well, when I get that message and I reply back, yes, what can I help you with? And then you reply back, we could stretch this out, a couple of days, right? And you never get your answer. If you email me and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this paper, I'm not sure about my introduction, can you take a look and help me out, right? Be very specific, include the assignment if you can, right? So that we can take a look at that and get that information to you. Email works really well because I can answer it at different times during the day. Voice and text calls are great, are good. They're not great. Text is great. These are good. I will get them. It just takes me a while longer to get back to you on those. So please think about that. But don't suffer in silence. Please reach out. If you need something, let me know so I can help you. I want you to be successful. I want you to do well in the class, and I want you to feel like you got something valuable from it. Guys, I am super excited about this class. I can't wait to get started. I can't wait to see what you guys do. I am confident that the material here is quality and the pacing is right. And I really feel like we've set you up to take away some really good things. So please, give it your best. Communicate with me if you need something. And guys, let's make this a great semester.